So that's no different than it was. It's just looping through here now. And
Well,
we,
what I'm saying is,
yes, we do want.
what's being streamed is that.
Oh, why?
So,
Why is that being streamed?
because we took the HDMI from here and put it into the Panda.
We want the other.
Right. Because then it'll just show.
Right, we want the program out.
Right, so we just gotta switch the HDMIs.
Still, we still have it going in. Okay.
You're live.
Right, so just switch that.
To where one.
Right. Good. Put that there and this there.
This one here. All right, there's
Yep.
your program
Okay.
out.
We're good.
Does it say dill?
Okay. I
Yep,
think you're ready to
DIL.
stream.
Alright, we're live.
Hi, welcome to our 2023 NWTC Gardening Expo. My name is Krista Travanka. I'm here to talk about the basics of organic gardening according to how I've been taught. Today we'll be talking about organic gardening and why I choose to grow organic, the 3 basic ways that you can go about growing a garden, the difference between hybrid seeds and heirloom seeds, going into your gardening season with a plan or a strategy and why that's important. Seed starting supply options for seeding indoors. Potting soil I recommend in the do's and the don'ts. How much to plant in your garden, companion planting, as well as organic pest management, which is a biggie. Well, let's start. There is conventional gardening and organic gardening. The number one reason I choose organic gardening is because I've done research, and when you know, you know. And I also enjoy going directly to my garden and just picking some vegetable or fruit off there and, not needing to wash anything off. I care about this body and what goes in it as well. And I can better control what I eat by having my own organic garden. There are benefits to growing food that is non-poisonous. It's said that chemical fertilizers came out of the Second World War with the intention to poison fertilizer upon our enemies. So it was basically used as a weapon. Then they set it up to kill insects. So by appearances, vegetables that are chemically sprayed look good. However, the body cannot get rid of that many chemicals, so people tend to be a little bit more prone to sickness. There was a scientific study done for 4 years on organic food versus conventional food. Their conclusions stated, on average, you get a third more nourishment by purchasing organic, with no pesticides or chemical contamination. Think about it. By purchasing organic food, you do not have to pay a third more for that carrot, but more for conventional food. The study shows that you're getting more value in nourishment by eating organic food. Now let's move on to the basic ways you can go about growing a garden, an organic garden. or a garden in general. You can start your seeds indoors. This is where you sow your seeds in some type of container, which we have here. Otherwise, there's containers that also look like this, but I stopped using stuff like this. I prefer bigger containers like these. One of the biggest reasons why you want to start your seeds indoors is you get a jump start on the season, as well as to ensure good yield. It's also cost effective, as growing your seeds is cheaper than buying them from a local nursery or stores that are nearby. Seedlings require much love and care, so before you put them in the soil, make sure that your potting mix is watered. Not to overwater it. You don't want to put your soil in a bowl and then have, water dripping from it. That'd be too much. So what we're gonna do is using today is Happy Frog potting soil. And because I don't have a container to put this in, we're gonna mix it in here with some water. We'll see if this works. I typically won't use bottled waters, but with this setup here, we're gonna go with bottled water. So we'll mix the water up real good so the soil gets nice and moist. But like I said, not dripping wet. So let's see here. Oh, another point to consider before you start seeding is you want to know when your last frost date is, and which is always an estimate. So you Google like the USDA plant hardiness zone map or the almanac.com to find out your last frost. I looked it up in Green Bay. According to the almanac.com, it says we're a 5A zone. So with that, the estimate last spring frost is about May 13th. With the first fall frost, it's October 2nd. That gives you 141 day of growing season, which is an estimate. So we're going to put some more water in here. Mix this up good. Don't be afraid to get dirty. Okay. So I'm going to fill the containers. And when I fill them, I'm not going to press the dirt down. I'm just going to let it fluff. So that it lays nice. It needs to be nice and airy for the seeds to germinate, so their roots can don't be shy about making a mess. This might take a while. A lot of times when I use my soil, I'll sift out the sticks. That way it leaves the soil a little bit more airy and fluffy. But this soil looks pretty good, so I wouldn't, there's some sticks here and there. So another thing is you want to read the seed package to determine germination time. Various kinds of seeds also need various kinds of temperatures to birth open. I recommend buying Baker Creek heirloom seed from their company. They're a company of integrity whose mission is to provide seeds of a sustainable food supply for everyone, keeping heirloom varieties alive for future generations. They're a pretty neat company, in my experience. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit more water. See, when I take the soil, I can put it in a ball, yet it still breaks up like this. That's perfect. Perfect little house for the seeds to grow in. So we need some more water. When sowing seeds, something I follow is that, well, that's always worked for me, is to sow seeds 2 to 3 times deeper than the seed size. So something that's always easy for me to remember. Never press down on the dirt, just leave it nice and fluffy. I just fill them to the top. I'll take these out of here. So, put some more water. I wouldn't suggest using water bottles when doing this because it's kind of a waste. But that's what we're doing. So there's vegetables that do best when you start them indoors, and those are tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, celery, eggplant, head lettuce. Starting indoors allows them for more control over the delicacy to flourish. So, that feels good. I'm just gonna dump. Let's see how this goes. It's not going very well, so we're just gonna go back to what we were doing initially. But you know, what's life without a little experimenting? I find doing this to be very therapeutic. I love getting in dirt. A lot of times when I plant seeds, I'll put music on just because it adds to the feel and the energy that I'm putting into the plants. how we feel when we plant our seeds, when we put them in here, that goes into the soil and it makes a difference to the quality and the energy of the plants that are going to grow, the vegetables. We're almost done. Okay. Just kind of brush over so that the soil's nice and even on the top. There. This one needs now. What we're gonna do is start with I have a little list because I know how many seeds that I need according to my plan that I structured for my garden. So let's see here. We're gonna start with Cherokee Purple. These are new seeds that I have this year, so I really haven't tried any of these, but it looks good. These are a meaty tomato, and so when I put them in the soil, I always put 3 per pot because not every single one germinates. I'm gonna dust my hands. Okay. And then because tomato seeds are typically pretty tiny, for tomatoes, I just put them on top. Just because they're so little. And on my list it says that I need 3 containers of these tomatoes. And I just accidentally put 4 in that one, but that's okay. Some people dump them all in one area. I like to spread them out a little bit. So I'm just gonna take a little soil to cover the top of these tomatoes. Just to cover them up a little bit. Okay. Now, let's plant the Amana orange. They say that it's a beefsteak variety. Is there any way somebody could run to the bathroom and give me a napkin? Paper towel? Because I don't want to get moisture in my seeds. Please, thank you. Okay. So these are going to be tiny as well. And on my list here it says that I need 3 containers of these as well. So I'm going to put 3 seeds per each container. And we'll just kind of lightly cover those up. So then I put my little sticks in. so I know what I planted. Well, these are pretty big sticks here. And then we also have a sweetie tomato. I don't eat tomatoes, but I like to grow my vegetables, a lot of my vegetables, and give it away. It's fun for me. I enjoy people enjoying food that's fresh. So these are the little small tomatoes. Thank you. And then I'm only going to do 2 containers of these. So we'll just put 3. I'm actually planting a little late than what I would typically do just because, but it's okay. That's what happens when you're a college student, right? Okay, so these are the sweeties. Now we're gonna get going with the bigger seeds. So we are going to, we have some green peppers. Would somebody else want to come and start this by chance? That way we'll just... I have a helper here. This is Martine.
Good name is do.
You can plant the cantaloupe, and on here it says 3 containers, so just do those 3, and then I do 3 holes, like that.
Just put 1 seed in each hole.
Put 1 seed in each hole, and then I cover it up. Thank you.
Yeah.
So with peppers, green peppers, I do 6. We eat a lot of peppers.
Look at that. So easy, even Martine.
Wow, what's that, man? Actually, I can't do it. Okay. So cover these up?
Yep.
So does that count as 1 or 3?
That'll be 1.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 in each container.
Where do you want me to put the next one, here or
Just put it right
these
here.
way?
Yeah. Oh, now I forgot. I think I did that one. But you know, that's okay. These seeds, the pepper seeds are really small too, so I just need to cover them up lightly. Do that one. You know, when you finish one, it's always best to put a stick in it. See? I think I did that one.
Do you want me to start the next one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So
Squash are pretty big. So that's butternut squash. Oh wait, no, that's not. That's yellow summer squash. Just 2 containers of them with three seeds each.
Same thing as the cannellini.
Yep. Yep. So then next we'll put in some habanero peppers. I like to put that when I pickle the cucumbers, make hot pickled cucumbers. Yep. And so we're doing 3 containers of those. If you end up dropping a couple extra seeds, it's okay. It's fine.
Which one's that?
Zucchini. So we put our steaks in here. So while Martine's doing that, there's another way that you can go about gardening and transplanting
Zucchini?
your seeds. Yep, that's zucchini. And that's by transplanting them from a nursery. So you go to a nursery and you buy them that they're already grown. This is helpful for people that don't have a lot of time, or if it's too late in the season to get those in the ground. In your garden is by direct seed. This is a straightforward option. This is good if you have a long growing season, because some plants take about 120 days to mature, such as Brussels sprouts. You're waiting until the estimated last frost, and then when you're clear, you go and plant your seeds. Direct seed is putting them directly into the ground. It's really easy. The downfall is if you have a plant that doesn't mature, you have to replant it. And another thing to consider is if seeds don't germinate, you must take the loss or reseed. But then that means your harvesting time is going to be different per each plant. Veggies. Veggies such as cucumbers, squash, melons, corn, and peas do not like their roots disturbed, so it's best that for those plants to go and have direct seed. So I use heirloom seeds, and so the difference between them is that they have been in a cultivation for the last 50 years. Open pollinated means the natural pollination of parent plants that breed true to type, versus hybrids that are produced by companies through selective plant breeding, not GMO. Heirlooms are like preserving seed diversity and food security in an age of corporate agriculture and patented, hybridized, or genetically modified seeds. Heirlooms are a variety that has been handed down that stay true to the seed. And what that means is if you want to say, like, when these grow, I can take the seeds and I can save them, and when I go to plant them next year, I'm going to get that same parent seed. Whereas versus hybrids, you don't always, usually they don't germinate, or you're getting a different kind of a tomato. Hybrids are created by artificial pollination to develop new varieties. The seeds obtained by artificial pollination or cross-pollination are called hybrid seeds. These plants obtained from these seeds are called hybrid plants, and these plants are developed to obtain desired qualities like high yield, disease resistance. Almost all hybrid seeds produce sterile seeds. So like I was saying before, if you were to collect them, it's very common nothing will grow, or you'll get something that won't be the same as the parent plant. Whereas heirloom, you get the parent plant. Did we do, oh, we got to do dill yet. Do you mind doing dill?
Also the butternut squash.
Oh, here. The butternut squash is 2 containers with,
These are the same process, just 3 holes.
yeah. So going into your gardening season with a plan and a strategy is, I find, to be pretty important. When, you know, such as this, I have a better chart at home, but this is what I just brought with me that's mobile. So I know how many plants that I'm seeding. It keeps everything in flow. I know, because according to my garden, where the seeds are, you know, I have a plan where each seed goes. So the 6 peppers stay together. There are things to consider with your layout. For example, spacing. If you're going to prune your tomatoes versus not pruning them, because when you don't prune your tomatoes, they grow so extremely large, kind of like messy hair. Versus when you do prune them, it's like a nice clean cut. One of the main things to consider if you think of how much to plant, you don't know what your goal is for your garden. Are you gardening just for your family? Are you gardening to give food away? In my experience, I don't have like a set structure every year. I just kind of structure my garden per season. It's usually always different every year anyways. But, you know, just kind of being mindful of how much per each vegetable that you eat. So if you eat a lot of zucchini and make a lot of zucchini bread, you're going to want a lot of zucchini. I give a lot of away, so I could put that into consideration for planning my garden.
These are really tiny. Same thing though?
Yeah, we'll just lay those on top. Lay 3 on top, and then just kind of like lightly dust dirt over it. Another thing is, you know, you want to ask yourself, am I going to be able to handle this harvest? Because it's easy to get carried away and excited, and all of a sudden you have this massive harvest with all these fruit, and you know nowhere to go with it. So plan accordingly. Another thing to keep in mind are some years you'll have a large harvest. So in those, you'll want to pull back for the following year. And then say the next year that large harvest is small. So nothing is secure. And, you know, every year is different with gardening. So it's just something to have fun with. It's good to be flexible. And going into your garden with a plan is more important than just winging it. It can be more expensive without a plan, and something that can be helpful is creating a sowing guide for indoor sowing, direct seed. It's helpful to know how many seeds you'll need, and I believe I covered that, and where you'll be transplanting them. So with that said, we'll take a short break and show you a little video of my garden and my harvest. So now we're going to start talking about the supplies that you need for your seeds. The first thing you'll need is a container, obviously. Like, these are one of the containers that I use. But if you don't have the money, or there's something simple, such as you can use the red party cups. Just make sure you drill a hole in the bottom for drainage, because your plants are going to need a lot of a lot of drainage. They do break down though, the cups, so usually you only get about 2 seasons out of them, and the downside is they're not biodegradable, which the other option is the 2.5-inch pots by 10 by 20 tray. It fits 32 in each tray. These ones are a little bit bigger. You can buy them from Bootstrap Farmer if you'd like. They're really high quality trays, and they last a really long time if you take care of them and you don't put them out in the sun. So you're gonna really get a lot out of those. Otherwise, Home Depot, Menards, and your local stores have them as well. There's also it's called the peat pots, and I'm not a huge fan of these just because they don't moisture. They can be a challenge in that area. Maintaining moisture is a big part of seed starting and its success. And there's also peat pellets, which I don't think they're necessarily the best product. They can dry out super fast. We also have biodegradable grow bags. It's still waste. It has plastic in it and does not break down like they say it does. It's cheap in cost. You'll need bottom watering as they do dry out fast. Don't plant the bag with the veggie in it. The bag doesn't break down. Next, we have your egg containers. There's a lot of people that use that. They do dry out faster, so you'll need to keep an eye on them for sure. You can use any container you want, but keep in mind, the bigger the container, the more soil you'll use, and that's more cost. And also, you want to keep in mind the root system of a plant. They need a nice amount of space, so egg cartons aren't really ideal. Next, I'll talk a little bit about bottom watering trays, which is this here, what they sit in. You can also get those from the Bootstrap Farmer. You can reuse them. It's nice because they help the seeds stay healthier. It forces the roots of the seeds to go deeper into the water, giving them a strong root system, and that's what you want. But don't put too much water in the beginning. You don't want to overdo it. And as far as the soil, there's what they call soilless mix and seed starting medium that does not have fertilizer in it, and it will say if it does. Most of the seed starting mixes do not. Those seeds in the soil with no fertilizer, those seeds in soil with no fertilizer are going to come up and use all the energy that they have stored in their seed, and then they'll stop growing, or they'll turn yellow because they need that fertilizer. But if you do use that kind of fertilizer or soil, I suggest that you add fertilizer to it. And I also suggest starting your seeds in potting soil like what we used here. It has elements in it to make it higher, more drainage, you're more drainage and does have fertilizer in it. Excuse me. You may have to sift through sticks. We didn't have to. This is really good soil. Use a variety of different pot mixes. There's also something called Bacto, and we use the Happy Frog. The Bacto is a little bit more sticky now after COVID, possibly due to the high demand, so I'm not going to use that. Don't start your seeds in compost, though. It can be, way too dense, and the nitrogen can be too high for them. I don't recommend buying bagged garden soil either. It's denser, thicker, and does not have elements in it to drain. Soil can become compact, and seeds soil can become compact and seeds then struggle to find their root system. I feel potting mix is ideal, and someone else may see it different, and that's okay. So those are pretty much the basics when it comes to soil. Airflow, they need to be watered, not overwatered. So now we're gonna kind of move our way into a commercial break. Thank you. Hi there, welcome back. We're gonna talk about pest management and some of the, all natural, more healthier versions that you can use for your pests that aren't going to harm you or your garden, the healthy garden bugs in the ecosystem. So one of the first ones is you could hand pick the bugs off, which I would not do. That kind of geeks me out. Another thing is called spinosad, I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's made of a soil bacterium. It works well. There's also BT. It's also made from a soil bacterium. It's non-toxic to animals or humans, so that's a nice one to use as well. We also have diatomaceous earth, and this is what I really don't use pest control for my plants, but I did have to one year with all the aphids, and this is what I found worked well. This acts as sharp razors to the bugs, so it kind of cuts them up. It's kind of horrible to hear, but. And then there's also neem oil. You want to make sure that when you're purchasing neem oil that it's 100% cold press. It works as a repellent, suppressant to deter bugs. There's also pyrethrin. I'm not saying that, pyrethrin. It comes from a chemical compound derived from chrysanthemum flowers. There's also insecticidal soaps. I use, now I forgot what I use, but it's the all organic Castle soap. That's what I use. And then there's essential oils, but there hasn't been really a whole lot of studies on essential oils. Perhaps peppermint, rosemary, or oregano may work. So this wraps up the NWTC Gardening Expo. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the experience and found some information helpful. If you choose to dive into organic gardening, I wish you the best, and if you choose conventional gardening, I wish you the best as well. In my experience, I feel organic gardening is hands down the best option, not only for myself and others, but for